This is the second part of the same chapter, Strategic International Human Resource Management. The global firm. In the recent years, many multinational enterprises have reached the state of internationalization where their operations are becoming blind to national borders. Uh, Even though most businesses still organize on regional basis and adaptations to local customer preferences may still be necessary, and we can also say that the products and services are increasingly designed for and marketed to customers all over the world. This is particularly we can say that this is particularly true for industrial products, that is for products sold from business to business, such as computer chips. The best technology and innovative ideas are sought everywhere and applied to market throughout the world. So the thing is, everything is now, or everything related with the multinational enterprises, that is becomes internationalization. They are all internationalization, and there are we can say that we are crossing the borders. We are crossing the international borders and promoting our products everywhere in the globe, in the international world. Then another thing is, we can say that the products and services are created where cost are the lowest, quality is the highest, and time to delivery is the shortest, and delivered where demand is sufficient. And resources, money, material, and parts, insurance, even people are sought from where the best quality for cost can be found. So this is also one of the aspects. This is also one of the another issue that is related with the global firm. These firms are increasingly referred to as a global. Reaching this stage of development is not merely a matter of company size or experience in internationalization. Sometimes it is a reflection of the nature of the pressures of the particular industry, but often it's reflect a purposeful strategic decision. So these are the issues, these are the aspects which is related towards the. Then another thing with the reference to the global firm is related is at the level of the development, the role of HR department must again shift. This is also another thing. When you're talking about employees are hired everywhere in the world, due to this globalization, due to this global firm, you can say that employees are hired everywhere in the world, wherever the necessary skills, training, and experience can be found. Worldwide policies are developed and implemented for many aspects of HR responsibility. You can say that possibly based on practices followed in numerous places around the world. You can say that management promotions will require international experience, uh, and then the and managers and executives will be developed from all major countries and regions of operation. Sorry. At the same time, increased sophistication, you can say that in locating certain HRM practices will become even more important. You can say that. And as the firm tries to be a global enterprise. So these are the things which is related with it. The shift is being to be a global company. This is another thing. This is another important thing, that this is the another example I can relate it. The company is the Faro Corporation. The Faro Corporation is the shift to being a global company. How they become, or how they being a global company. They invested around $1 billion manufacturing of coatings and plastics, specialty chemicals and ceramics, has been successful international enterprise for almost three quarters of century, and is now becoming a model for being a global company. So these are some of the examples, these are some of the aspects which is related at how a company can be a global firm and how they can reach it and how they target it and how they explore international benefit or how they can expand their business. This is also another important thing. For example, this the later, if you can say that the Pharaoh has reorganized. Some of the examples related with the Pharaoh is that they reorganized its corporate structure to focus on products and businesses lines across international borders. So the thing is, when you are moving to the internationalization or moving toward the globalization, so you can also have a business and product lines which relate with the international borders. So you can target as well. Each business thinks of the world as as its marketplace now. So these are the things, these are the aspects which is related with the issues, and this is related with the globalization. Then the other thing is that we can move on further. If I hope you can understand it. If you have any question, please ask through the WhatsApp, or you can ask from me through the LMS official portal. You can ask the query so I can reply you accordingly. The other thing is the transnational firm. The transnational firm, what does the mean of the transnational firm is? A decade ago, Bartlett and Ghoshal suggested that many firms were evolving into a new form of international business that they termed transnational. We can say that by meaning of the transnational. So, if we want to explain the transnational, so the transnational mean is that the globalization impacts on the trade with many companies operating across borders. The transnational corporations, TNCs, we can say that TNCs, as we say that MNEs. So, this is now the transnational is related with the TNCs, transnational corporations, are the multinational corporations, you can say that are the companies that operate in more than one country. All those companies who are operating more than one country. So this is known as the multinational corporations or transnational corporations. For example, we can say that Unilever, we can say that McDonald's, Apple's. These are all the examples of the transnational corporations. Transnational corporations tend to have offices and headquarters located in the developed world. They often have factories in countries that are not as economically developed to take advantage of a cheaper labor. When a transnational corporation locates within a country, there are advantages and disadvantages as well. So the transnational corporations create jobs, they create stable income. You can say that they can also relate it with the improved education and skills. Sorry, they can reliable than the other things, as well as they have exploit natural resources, develop economic base of the country. So these are all the benefits associated with the transnational firms. Some few disadvantages as well. There are fewer workers implied considering the scale of investment, poorer working condition. In some of the cases, there is a possibility, there is a chance when you are going for the internationalization, when you are going for the multinational. So there are some of the cases, there are some of the chance there you can, your working conditions can be affected, specifically in the developing countries. Not in the developed countries, but specifically in the developing countries, like you can say that Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, Philippines, any other countries where they are all the developing countries, Vietnam, these are all the developing countries. So these working conditions might affect. A very famous case of the Nike is also available on the YouTube. You can watch and you can find out how they take benefits and how they can affect their working conditions can affect the business environment and the working environment as well. So these are the things which is related with the disadvantages. Then the transnational corporations are among the world's biggest economic institutions. Some experts suggest that the 300 largest transnational corporations own or control at least one quarter of the entire world's productive assets. So this is a huge number. This is a huge number. This is worth about $5 trillion. The US $5 trillion. So this demonstrates the scale and influence of transnational corporations all across the world, all across the globe. You can say that. So these are the aspects which is related with the transnational corporations. So if you want to ask any question related with the transnational firm, so we can discuss. So further move on to the next part of the chapter is the choice of business firm for entry into the international business. Once a firm has made the decisions to go international, either through a formal strategic choice or through informal reaction to market pressures, it is faced with a number of choices for implementing this strategy for the purpose of identifying international human resource strategy for staffing and helping to achieve organizational international business strategy. This specific set of business choices for going international provides fruitful categories for understanding the way business pursue international strategy. So this is the choice of the business, that how you can go and how you invest. We know that the for going for the internationalization, for going for the international business strategies, the specific set of business going international will provide you the fruitful benefits and all other aspects. Then you can say that these includes, when we say that there are some of the aspects related with the exporting, licensing, subcontracting, forming joint ventures, alliances, partnerships, are using foreign direct investments, FDIs, through wholly owned subsidiaries in any of their many forms. Assembly, that is assembly, manufacturing offices, retail establishment, etc., and established in any of a number of ways, that is through acquisitions, a greenfield exercise, or turnkey projects. So these are some of the elements which is related with the choice of for internationalization. So what do you mean by the greenfield, and specifically, if we can, I can explain you the greenfield concept. Uh, if we want to explain the greenfield concept, or the approach of the greenfield, is basically specifically related with the approach is that you can start fresh uh, activity, fresh, without any legacy equipment or applications to work with. You are free to innovate without having to consider previous iterations and restrictions. You are not tempted to create small incremental change, but are free to reinvent the core processes that were in the place. That would be the infrastructure, that would be the procedures, applications. These are all things. How can we relate it in the example? So in the 2006 Hewlett Packard, HP used the greenfield approach when deploying new worldwide data centers for international applications. They built 6 new data centers in Austin, Atlanta, and stocked them with the new HP servers. All applications were ported to these new servers, and of the local servers in computer rooms in data centers around the world. These are all the things which is related with the greenfield approach, we can say that. And then how greenfield innovation at work. In Dubai in 2013, they explained that they distributed the country, their cameras located along the main highways, and when you exceed the posted speed limit, the cameras takes a picture of you, complete the with license plate, and sends a text message to the phone that is registered to the owner. The owner can then pay the fine from their smartphone.
Dubai is a relatively new country without a traditional traffic control system. So they abandoned the old school police speed trap and court systems for this streamlined fine and pay system. So this is also a greenfield innovation system that can work for the organization, that can link with the organization.
So moving on further, uh, I gave you the assignments that you find out that what does the mean of the greenfield investment, or what is the relate with the green field. So you can also find out it. I will give you the assignments and greenfield, and then as well as the turnkey projects. You can explain to me on this one page that what does the mean of the turnkey projects and the greenfield uh, investments, or the greenfield projects, you can say that. Portfolio investment at the simplest level of involvement, a firm may just decide to make financial investments in foreign firms, buying shares of stock much as it could do within its own domestic equities markets, except for a general need to access the foreign firms and the other aspects. So the next part is the portfolio investment. Portfolio investment at the simplest level of involvement, a firm may just decide to make financial investments in foreign firms, buying shares of stock much as it could do within its own domestic equities market, except for general need to assess foreign firms, including their workforces and HR practices and markets, including the quality of country labor forces. HR is not likely to be very involved in this form of international business activity. So this is like a portfolio investments, and you can then you move for partial ownership, a common form of international participation that evolved at the end of the Cold War, particularly in Central Eastern Europe, was partial ownership of enterprises, particularly those which had been state owned in formerly communist countries. The newly privatized firms needed capital, technology, and management and marketing skills, and often sought partial ownership from Western firms. Indeed, it was not uncommon for these enterprises to seek capital and technology, but not want necessarily to release ownership or seek management advice, figuring the that would could run their own firms. International giant ventures in recent years, the structure of the choice for many businesses, including Starbucks and Lincoln Electric, as they go international, is the International Giant Ventures IJV, in which two or more firms, at least one from each of at least two countries, create a new business entity with shared ownership and managerial responsibilities. This entity is often created with limited objectives and a limited life. Employees will normally be assigned to the new entity from each of the partners with specific managerial and employee responsibilities, hopefully negotiated prior to the establishment of the joint venture. Then alliances, partnerships, that is research and consortia. These are the activities firms utilizing this structure do not necessarily replace their traditional multi-domestic or global transnational structure, but increasingly multinational firms are developing and using alliances, partnerships, joint ventures, and other kind of linkages to go international. So these are the aspects, these are the some of the strategies that is also linked with the international. So the all things that you also already know that alliances and partnerships is in the research, and they you do both two companies or two countries can alliance and works with for the specific things for the specific project. Consortia or consortium is also the same thing that the is another thing. Sorry, is another thing. It's not the same thing, but is another thing that where a group made up of two or more individuals, companies or governments that work together to achieving a common objectives. So this is the objective of the consortium. Consortium is our consortia is an association of two or more individual companies, organizations or governments or any combination of these entities with the objective of participating in a common activity. So there are so many consortium is already available in the Pakistan, like the Chinese Economic Corridor Consortium is already available, which worked and which can relate the so many objectives related with the consortia. International orientation, the strategic issue in these orientation is the degree of domination of the multinational enterprises headquarters over subsidiary management and HR practices as compared with the degree of integration of subsidiary practices and cultures into those of headquarters and other subsidiaries. Ethnocentrism, the initial orientation of many managers, especially those from a more homogeneous national population and culture or from a country with a strong patriotic culture, is one of the ethnocentrism. In this orientation, managers use the home country standard as a reference in managing international activities. Managers with such a mindset are likely to follow an international strategy of maintaining control from the home country and parent firm headquarters and replicating home country systems and procedures and structure abroad. So this is how we can relate with the explain the ethnocentrism. Then the polycentricism, regiocentrism, the next level of development or evolution of the managerial orientation is referred to as polycentrism, regiocentrism. Here, as international investment and the involvement increased, the host country culture and practices assumed increased salience. This may be extended to include a number of similar countries in a region, and host country standards are increasingly used as a reference point in managing company operations. The strategies typically followed are likely to be multinationals or multi domestic strategies that emphasize decentralized and autonomous operations of wholly owned subsidiaries. So, if we explain polycentricism, so if we can say about the polycentricism is basically the approach is the international recruitment method where in the HR recruits the personnel for the international businesses, and then in polycentric approach, the nationals of the host countries are recruited for the managerial positions to carry out the operations of the subsidiary firm or the subsidiary company. The rationale behind this approach is that the locals of the host country know their culture better and can run the businesses more efficiently as compared to their foreign counterparts. For example, a parent company, a subsidiary is the host country, and the parent company is the headquarters, and the nationals of the host countries are recruited at the managerial positions. So, this is how the structures you can say that. Some of the benefits associated with the polycentric approach is the difficulty in the adjustment of expatriates from the parent country gets eliminated. The hiring of locals the nationals of the host country is comparatively less expensive. So these are the elements which is relate with the polycentricism or polycentric approach. Geocentric, when a firm reaches the level of a global orientation, a geocentric mindset will have developed and been adopted. Here, the managerial outlook is one of creating a global network and a preference for following a transnational strategy that is integrative and interdependent among various elements of the global organization. Then the critical issue, centralization versus localization. Centralization is the concentration of authority and decision making toward the top headquarter of an organization. Decentralization is the dispersion of authority and decision making to operating units throughout the organization. In the international context, this involves the degree of centralization or decentralization of corporate authority and decision making throughout a firm's global operations. So, this is a very simple thing. And if you have any questions, you can ask from me as well. So this concludes from my side. If you have any questions related with this chapter, or you have any ambiguity related with the chapter, so you can ask from me so we can discuss it. And there are so many other concepts as well as related with the chapter and related with, so you can read it by yourself and give me the feedback as well, so we can discuss it further for the discussion purposes. So good day, and thank you very much for listening me, and goodbye.